How is everyone doing? I'm back with another episode, and before I break down this Bills-Ravens matchup, I'm going to quickly recap the Ravens-Titans game. The Ravens did not get off to a good start. As you can see, A.J. Brown caught an early touchdown that gave the Titans a 7-0 lead. And if you happen to watch my last episode of the Ravens-Titans game, the one thing I said Lamar could not do in the passing game is try to play hero ball and force the ball down deep, and that's exactly what he did there. However, the Ravens fought back, and on this 3rd and 9 from around midfield, Lamar Jackson escapes the pocket and just outruns the entire Titans defense. Say what you will about Lamar and his passing, but I don't think any other quarterback in the NFL can make this play. Well, I did predict the Ravens win. The game was a lot more low-scoring than I thought. The Ravens defense amazingly held Derrick Henry to only 40 yards on 18 attempts. They completely took away Derrick Henry and dared Ryan Tannehill to beat them with his arm. Despite some early success in the passing game, this interception by Marcus Peters with 2 minutes left all but sealed the game. And if I didn't do a good enough job of hyping up this rivalry last week, this will do it for you. The Ravens dance on the Titans logo at midfield like the Titans did to them in Week 11. The Ravens are matched up against the Buffalo Bills, who took on the Indianapolis Colts on Saturday. Despite an early surge from the Colts, the Bills jumped out to a 14-point lead at the beginning of the fourth quarter. The 7-seeded Colts, though, were not going to go down without a fight, as Rivers connects with Jack Doyle to make it a 3-point game with just over 6 minutes to go. The Bills were able to hold on as this Hail Mary fell incomplete with no time left on the clock. By virtue of the Browns' win over the Steelers, the 2-seeded Bills now will face the 5-seeded Baltimore Ravens in the divisional round. But how did we get here? Both the Bills and Ravens drafted quarterbacks in the 2018 draft. Josh Allen was selected 7th overall by the Buffalo Bills in the 2018 draft. The quarterback from Wyoming had a lot of promise, but not many believed he could ever be a true star in the NFL. In his rookie year, 2018, people were impressed by Allen's raw athleticism and his arm strength, but his decision-making and accuracy were what got him in trouble. Allen, who became a starter in Week 2 of his rookie year, threw for a league-worst 52.8 completion percentage. With only 10 touchdowns and 12 interceptions in 11 starts, many questioned whether Allen was a long-term answer to the Bills' quarterback spot. Allen did improve in 2019. He led the Bills to a 10-6 record while throwing for 20 touchdowns to only 9 interceptions. His completion percentage still wasn't amazing at 58.8%, but it had shown improvement. Allen took a huge leap in 2020. He went from a fairly average quarterback to an MVP candidate. He threw for 37 touchdowns and only 10 interceptions, and his completion percentage jumped all the way up to 69.2%. Allen's development has been amazing to watch over the last couple of years, as he's turned himself into a top quarterback in the NFL. In the same 2018 draft, there were 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Lamar Jackson was the 5th one and went to the Baltimore Ravens at 32. Because of his play style, not many people believed Lamar could be a successful quarterback in the NFL. He was told constantly that he would need to switch positions to be successful in the NFL. The Ravens started the year 4-5 when a struggling and injured Joe Flacco was benched in favor of Lamar Jackson. While Lamar made an occasionally nice throw, he was definitely not a consistent passer in the NFL. What he was electric, and his running game led the Ravens to 6-1 record down the stretch and to an AFC North title. Lamar's breakout year was his 2nd year in the NFL, 2019. Defenses had no answer for his running game. Lamar rushed for the most ever yards by a quarterback in a single season, 1,206. But the part of his game that really improved and really made him dangerous was his passing. Lamar threw for 36 touchdowns to only 6 interceptions and earned himself a unanimous MVP along the way. Lamar hasn't quite kept up the same MVP form in 2020, but he still has had a really good season. The Ravens started the season 5-1, but quickly stumbled to 6-5. Lamar and the rest of the team won their last 5 games and went 11-5 to earn a wildcard spot. Now, Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, the 2 most doubted and scrutinized quarterbacks from the 2018 draft class, are set to face off in the upcoming divisional matchup. Now, this matchup is going to be a little bit tough to break down because the Bills and Ravens have not played this year. Well, I could break down their matchup from last year. Both teams have changed a lot since then. For what it's worth, the Ravens did win that game 24-17. With that being said, I'm going to try my best to take plays from this year and put them together. For a 2nd consecutive year, the Ravens rushed for over 3,000 yards. And while the running backs in the offense, J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, definitely deserve some credit as they're phenomenal players Everyone knows the Ravens' run game starts and stops with Lamar Jackson. There's only been 3 times in NFL history where a quarterback has rushed for 1,000 yards in a single season, and Lamar Jackson has done it twice. Not only do defenses have to be ready for Lamar to break out of the pocket and scramble on any given play, they have to be aware of plays that are designed for Lamar to keep the ball. This play right here that I'm about to break down is the Ravens' go-to 3rd and 4th down play. At first glance, this just looks like a great play by Lamar, and while it is, of course, there's so much more that goes into this play. This play is on a 3rd and 4 from the Washington 50. Most teams would be thinking pass, but for the Ravens, this is the perfect time to dial up this play. The Ravens only have 5 men on the line of scrimmage, so these 4 linemen are just going to have one-on-one blocks with the Washington defense. And then, as he so often does, Bradley Bozeman, number 77, is going to pull across to become the lead blocker on this play. The defense isn't quite sure what they're seeing, because they're not sure if Lamar is going to give the ball to J.K. Dobbins to take outside, or if he's going to keep it himself and follow Bradley Bozeman up this hole right here. Now, when we look at the Washington linebackers, the Ravens are going to leave this guy unblocked, because he's responsible for J.K. Dobbins on the outside, so they're not worried about him crashing down on Lamar. Troy Apke, the safety up here, is going to try and come down to fill this hole, but with the lineman running full steam, he has absolutely no chance. I want you to pay special attention to number 52 on this play. All the pressure is going to be put on him. Even though he's unblocked and has a free shot at the quarterback, he doesn't know where the ball is going, and because he hesitates for just half a second, Lamar is going to get by him and burst through the hole for a 50-yard touchdown. This is why this play is such a headache for defenses. It puts all the pressure on one player and requires him to think lightning fast to have a chance to stop this play. So even if 10 out of 11 defenders do exactly what they're supposed to do, you still might end up seeing the back of Lamar's jersey as he gashes your defense for a huge play. This is the same concept on a 4th and 2 from the Dallas 37. This is pretty much the same play I just showed you, with a slight variation. Again, there's only 5 men on the line of scrimmage, but this time, these 3 linemen are going to have the one-on-one blocks. Instead of pulling across to become the lead blocker, Bradley Bozeman is setting the edge by blocking number 90, DeMarcus Lawrence this time. Instead, Orlando Brown, the left tackle, is going to come across to be the lead blocker. Again, the defense has to respect the ball going to J.K. Dobbins outside and Lamar keeping the ball and following the lead blocker into the hole. The Ravens leave 54, Jalen Smith, unblocked. They know he's responsible for the outside run, so they're not worried about him crashing down on Lamar. Number 23 on the defense is in the right spot, trying to fill this hole, but with the 300-pound lineman running full speed at him, he has no chance to make the tackle. Now again, I want you to watch 55 in a second here. He doesn't know whether the ball is going to go outside to J.K. Dobbins or Lamar is going to keep it and run through this hole. And because he hesitates for a second, he's not in the right spot to make the tackle on Lamar. If Buffalo wants to stop this play, their linebackers are going to have to do a really good job of diagnosing the play and making a tackle on Lamar. Even though he had 130 rushing yards against the Titans, they did a pretty good job of stopping this play. It's a 3rd and 2 from their own 14-yard line. Because the Ravens love to run this play on 3rd downs, the Titans are ready for it. Every time the Titans thought the Ravens were going to run this play, they would get as many defenders down near the line of scrimmage as possible. Out of the 5 or 6 times the Ravens ran this play, I would say it worked well probably once. The Titans were able to get enough people so that the Ravens were not able to block either of these 2 linebackers, and they were able to crash down and tackle Lamar behind the line of scrimmage. Now, do I think the Bills could stop this play by stacking 7 men in the box? Sure, it's hard to run the ball at all when there's that many people on the line of scrimmage. But what I think the Ravens will do is they'll look back at the Titans game and see that the Titans sold out to stop this play. And if the Bills do the same thing, the Ravens will use this against them. Because if the Bills sell out for the run and the Ravens run play action, more than likely a receiver will be open for an easy completion. Since we know Baltimore has one of the best and most complex rushing offenses in the NFL, we're going to look at how the Buffalo defense stacks up. The Baltimore offense is 1st in rush yards per game in 2020, as they average 194.5 yards per game. Buffalo's rush defense ranks 20th in the NFL. They give up 122.2 yards per game. The Ravens are going to need to use their advantage up front to not only consistently move the ball, but keep Josh Allen and this high-octane Bills offense off the field. In most of their wins this year, the Bills offense was able to score early and often and force the other team to throw the ball for most of the game. But when you look at the games the Bills lost, it was when teams were able to successfully run the ball on them. In Week 6 in Buffalo, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was able to rush for 161 yards on the Bills' defense. And the Cardinals, who defeated the Bills in Week 10, 32-30, were able to rush for over 200 yards with the combination of Kenyon Drake, Chase Edmonds, and Kyler Murray. Both these teams were able to consistently move the ball down the field and keep the ball away from the Bills' offense, at least enough to win the game. Looking at this play right here, the Chiefs are trying to get Clyde Edwards-Helaire to the hole on the right side. But to draw defenders away, they're going to bring Tyreek Hill on a motion over top and fake the ball to him. The threat of the speedy Tyreek Hill getting the ball on the outside is enough to draw the eyes of at least 4 Bills defenders, even if it's for a split second. This leaves the Bills linebackers out of position and unable to fill the gap that Helaire is able to run through. This play is significant because the Ravens run pre-snap motion more than any other team in the NFL. The Ravens use pre-snap motion on 37.5% of their plays. For reference, the Rams are second in pre-snap motion, and they only run it 29% of the time. The Bills are going to have their work cut out for them because Lamar Jackson adds an extra element to the pre-snap motion. The ball could go to a wide receiver who is motioning across the field, the ball could go to the running back, or Lamar can keep the ball himself. This just makes staying disciplined and filling the correct gaps all the more important for the Buffalo defense. For me, the magic number is 250. If the Ravens can rush for 250 yards combined, I think they have a really good chance to win this game. While it's possible Lamar could have a big day passing, I think the Ravens need to stick to their guns and grind it out on this cold, possibly snowy Buffalo night. Buffalo has the second-ranked scoring offense in the NFL this year, but almost all of that is accredited to their passing game. They averaged the second most pass yards per game this year. However, their run game has not been as strong this year. They are 20th in rush yards per game. So how does the Ravens defense plan to stop Josh Allen and this red-hot Bills passing game? Well, Josh Allen has performed well against almost every defense he's played this year. He has performed especially well against man coverage. He's thrown for a staggering 26 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions this year, even though they don't pose much of a threat in the run game. The Ravens defense knows they're going to have a tough matchup with Allen in this passing game. They can make it a little easier on themselves by limiting the amount of times that they play man coverage against this Bills receiving corps. Even though the Ravens have a really good secondary, this Bills receiving corps is just too good to simply play one-on-one. This play right here against the Patriots is a perfect example of how Josh Allen has been able to carve up man coverage this year. The Patriots are playing cover 1 on this play, meaning we have man coverage on each of the receivers, and then a single high safety, number 32, Devin McCourty, who is responsible for any route over the top. And then they also have a linebacker who is technically in coverage, but he's more of a QB spy. He's responsible for watching Josh Allen, making sure he doesn't break out of the pocket, and he's going to try to read his eyes and jump the ball. Allen sees that Stephon Diggs over the middle here has beat his man one-on-one on this slant route. Since Allen sees that the linebacker is trying to read his eyes, he's going to look up the field and try to draw the linebacker away from the slant route. He's going to wait an extra half second until Diggs has ran past the linebacker, and then he's going to fit the ball into Diggs, who has nothing but space once he catches it. Keep in mind that this was against J.C. Jackson, number 27, who is widely regarded as one of the best corners in the NFL. Even though the Ravens have some great corners in Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters, if they are left out to dry in man coverage all game, the likes of Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, and John Brown will find a way to get open. While they might dial up an occasional heavy blitz, the Ravens will have to trust that they can get pressure in 4 or 5 man fronts for most of the game. Why are these clips I'm about to show you of Patrick Mahomes important to the Ravens-Bills matchup? Let me show you. Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen have been similar in a lot of ways this year, but one way that really stands out is how good both of the quarterbacks are against the blitz. Not only are both quarterbacks great at avoiding pressure and able to fling the ball downfield quick, they both have great receivers that are easily able to get separation when left one-on-one. When the Ravens played the Chiefs in Week 3, their game plan seemed to be to get as much pressure on Mahomes as possible and not allow him to wind up for the deep throws. This game plan ended up getting them burnt because Mahomes was able to sit in the pocket and find his speedy receivers over the top for some long touchdowns. When I saw this play live, I knew as soon as the Colts brought their safety down and blitzed him and were not able to get instant pressure that Allen was going to be able to find one of his receivers deep for a touchdown. Allen sees the safety creeping up, so he smartly changes to a shotgun formation. The Colts, who are down by 7 at the start of the fourth quarter, they're trying to pressure Allen into either a sack or a bad throw here. The Colts are blitzing 6 people, 5 defensive linemen, and the safety. This is going to leave the Colts cornerbacks one-on-one with the Bills receivers. The safety over top is going to read Allen's eyes and try to cheat to the side he's looking at. Before the play even starts, Allen knows that his star receiver, Stephon Diggs, has one-on-one coverage on the outside. He knows this is where he wants to go to the ball. But to draw the safety away from this route, he's going to look to the left side and then wait until Diggs has passed his man and connect with him for an easy touchdown. Because the safety was trying to read Allen's eyes, he took a couple steps in the wrong direction and then had no chance to recover and stop this route. When Josh Allen has struggled this year, albeit it hasn't been often, it's when teams have been able to get pressure rushing only 4 or 5 men. If a defense is able to sit back in zone coverage for most of the game and still get pressure, it makes it frustrating for the quarterback. Even though the Ravens rank 14th in sack percentage this year, their pass rush is really not all that good. So if the Ravens want to blitz the Bills on Saturday, they're going to have to make sure they do a good job disguising it. Because when Allen is able to recognize that a defense is blitzing, they have about the same chance to be broken apart as a folding table in Buffalo after a Bills win. I think the turnover battle is key in this game. If the Ravens can force Josh Allen into a bad decision and maybe create an interception or two, I think that could really be the difference between a win and a loss. I think this game is going to be a really good one. This is a really good matchup between two very different but very exciting styles of football. With the Ravens' revolutionary run game versus the Bills' lethal passing attack, I think it comes down to whichever defense can step up. And of course, I'm going to take my Ravens 31-23 in this game. But this game could definitely go either way. And whichever team wins, I think has a really good chance to go all the way. As always, thank you for watching, and like and subscribe if you wouldn't mind.